For our background, we're going to make stars. Using the back of your paintbrush, you can dip it in to make dots. If you want the stars to appear far away, you can make sure to cover all of your paper. If you want stars to look like they're zooming by, or if you want to make comets, you can use the brush side of your paintbrush to make swooshes. And just take your time to go through and make sure the whole place is covered. We will be putting rockets and planets on this, so make sure you get your edges. I think I could have done a better job. You could have rockets or comets, or you could have shooting stars or comets going off the edge of your paper as well, especially since you have a placemat. We're also going to have two pieces of paper that you need to write your name on. One is a warm piece of paper and one is a cool piece of paper. On your cool colored paper, you're going to use cool colored paints to paint textures. We are doing implied texture you can use your brush to make different squiggles and lines, and you can also use texture combs. The texture combs work best when the paint is wet. So you can go back and forth between brushing on, like painting texture on, and using the combs. When you use the comb, just hold it downward facing to get the best pressure, I guess, the best angle instead of holding it straight up and down. You can experiment with it. You could also use a normal comb, you could use a fork, you could use the back of your paintbrush again to make streaks going through. And then you will do the exact same thing, the same process with your other paper. This time I'm trying to apply a little bit of paint and then directly use the comb, and you'll see it maybe does a little bit more. And just think about what colors you use, because some will show up better depending on the color of paper you chose. When I'm using the red, it almost exactly matches my paper, so when it dries, it might not really show up that well. And that's okay. We're just going to practice doing different implied textures. And when you're done, go ahead and put it in the drying rack. Okay, today we have our warm and our cool paper from the other day, and we have our background that are all dried. I'm just going to pop this under my placemat to keep it safe, and then I'm going to start with one of these. I'm going to choose which one I want for my rocket. I do have some rocket templates which you can use, but you can also use your own creativity to design your own rocket. If you're going to do that, I would recommend flipping it to the back where you can't see the paint, and draw your rocket on the back and then cut it out. That way if you make any mistakes, it's not a big deal because the mistakes won't show up. So if you are using one of the tracers, just hold it flat and go ahead and trace it around it, making sure to keep one hand on it. And then you could also trace it on the back. And then on this other paper, you're going to use it to make a planet, or maybe you want multiple planets. We can look around the room for things to trace, larger or smaller. And then once you're done with both of those, you're going to use your scissors to cut out super slow like a sloth. Make sure you're looking at the line as you cut, and you're less likely to make mistakes. But if you do make a mistake, don't worry, because we're going to be gluing this all down anyways. So I also want to make my rocket look like it's got flames shooting out of the back. So I found a few scraps of paper, and I'm going to draw some flames and cut those out. You also want to take the time to find paper scraps and make some really interesting details for your rocket. Maybe some stripes or some windows or some other type of wings coming out. These are just for fun, so you can use your creativity to how you would like your rocket to look. Once you've got everything cut out, you're going to practice and see how you like it arranged, and then once you've decided, you're going to dip with your brush, wipe it on the lip into the glue, not the lips on your face, and then you're going to glue it to the paper. And one way to do that is to go around the outside edge and quickly get as many of the edge pieces as you can glued, and then once you've gotten that done, any extra glue left on your brush, just try to wipe it off in the middle. And we want to move kind of fast so the glue doesn't dry. So then go ahead and flip it over. And I would start with, like, I wanted my rocket to go over my planet, so I glued my planet down first, and now I'm gluing down my rocket. I maybe should have also glued down my flames first because they're technically behind the rocket, but yeah, just try to think about that. Once you've gotten all of your pieces glued on, just take a little bit more glue, make sure to wipe it on the lip so it's not too much, and pick up anything that's kind of not really glued down that well and get the edge again. Just put a little brush under the edge so that it'll stick really well. And at this point, you're going to take it and put it in the drying rack, and then you can wash your hands, you can clean up, make sure your name didn't get covered, make sure we can still see your name. Remember, creativity takes courage, and you've got this.